This conference will now be recorded.
I do have a hard stop at 7 because that's the DEI committee for the Dufferin region that they've organized. It ended up getting scheduled tonight at 7 p.m. unfortunately.
Okay.
So would you like me to take the chair role until we figure out who's going to be chair?
Well,
or Mark, did you want to run the meeting?
I was going to suggest that we just move the election of the new chair or co-chair up to the top and see whether there was anyone else that wished to put their name in the hat for nominations. It's probably easier just to ask John and Omni whether you wish to be chair, or did you just wish Christine to follow through with it? If that's the case,
I think Christine will set this position.
Okay. So
yes, I agree with Christine.
There you go.
Oh,
so by
great.
default,
Thank you very much, everybody. Much appreciated.
So I'll pass the meeting over to you,
Well,
Christine.
That's true.
Okay, then I'm going to call the meeting to order. I just want to make sure there's no conflict of interest or anything like that with everybody on the committee. We're good there. Can someone approve the agenda for this evening? Everyone has a copy of the agenda. It was in the meeting invite. Ralph's.
Great.
Okay, Ralph approved it. Seconded it. John?
Yes.
And also we need approval of the previous minutes. So if someone could approve previous minutes.
Okay, I'll approve the previous minutes.
Okay, John. I need someone to second that.
Me too.
Ralph? Amnia? Okay, that's great. Thank you. Hey, Andrew, fantastic. You got in.
Hey, Andrew.
I have a question.
Yes, Rob.
See, I'm not sure which agenda we're working off of. The one that I printed from an email that Mark gave me today. I don't think it's the latest agenda because under new business, there was also an item that was to review the DEI survey. That should be a part of business.
Yeah, we can add that in because I actually took this one right from the meeting link invite, and it also has nothing under new business.
It has the community survey, though, under unfinished business is item number 4.
Right, okay, so it's there either way. Perfect. So Andrew, just want to double check that you're okay that just before you came on board, the committee has nominated me as chair, but I thought I'd just make sure you're okay with that. Unless you'd like to put your name forward, I have no problem with that either.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm still on the learning curve for a lot of this stuff.
Okay. How's your month going? You said this is a busy month for you?
Oh, it's a very, very busy month. And yeah, I've had a few presentations and engagements, and I got Saturday coming up. So there's a lot of stuff on the agenda.
I would love to come and see you in one of your shows. Where is Saturday?
Well, I'll be at the Human Library on Saturday between 1 and 4 as a human book.
Oh, I won't be able to do that one.
But I'll be on Celebrate Your Awesome on Mill Street later on.
Late on Saturday as well?
Yes, on Saturday, and you can see me online at Ann D. Licious. Follow the link on the library's website.
Perfect. I'm going to see if I can look it up. Thank you. Okay, so that's it. We got through all of the general items. So we'll start with unfinished business. And Ralph, did you want to move up the community survey first, since you spent a lot of time on that, and we probably should get through that so we can finish it? Hi, John.
All right, that's fine with me. I think I may have pushed many of you on this because I just got out the edit of our subcommittee meeting that was held on Monday. I put the edit together. Christine's helped a little bit with some wordsmithing this morning, and I put it out to all of you at noon. I guess we should see. Have you been able to have a look at it? Okay.
I hadn't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it, John? It should be on your in basket.
Mm-hmm.
So John, maybe if you could review it over the next day or two, and if you have any feedback that you'd like to add, you could send it to the group.
Yes, okay, sounds
Um,
good.
I mean, Ralph, I'm assuming you don't want to go through the whole survey now if most people have had an opportunity to review it.
What my thought was that since I was hoping everybody had a chance to review it, and then we could just deal with any items that are of concern. I think maybe it'd be a good idea to break it down a little bit. So has everybody got the survey in front of them? Yep.
No, it would be on my email.
Right.
I think I'd have to have it printed out, and then I could have it in front of me the only way, or go on. I could probably bring it up on my other phone.
Okay. John, did you find it on your in basket? I said it about.
It's on my other system. I have to check. I'll just see if I can get on the other system here.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I'm gonna have you had a chance to look at it.
Well, I attend Monday with you guys, and we work together. So
Right. So what is in there now is essentially what we decided on Monday, and this is an opportunity now to further refine it if we wish to. I don't have any issues or any questions about it. I went over it with the chair. She looked at it
oh,
this
you mean
morning.
the email that you sent this? So you mean the
It was
email that
just
you
all the
sent
edits
today?
were made. All the edits were made after our conversation. So Ralph just wanted us to review, make sure that all the edits were taken into consideration, which they were. But I mean, you were on the meeting, so you know what the edits were going to be. I've already reviewed it with Ralph as well, and I agree that everything we had discussed was in there.
Me too.
So I don't know if we
I
need to
read
do
the
more than,
email.
yeah. So I don't know if we need to do more than that, Ralph. I don't think anyone here on the group has any concerns with the survey. I think we just need to give John a chance to review it.
Was there
Maybe
any major changes?
All the changes, John, were added by everybody, as you know, in different colors. And
Yes,
you
right.
got a copy of that, and you
Yes.
added your comments too. So
Right.
we incorporated most of those changes. There was one number near the end that we removed, somewhat against my wishes, and we changed it. We were looking for identifying where people were having discrimination. And if you go to number 19, the question is, if you answered yes to question 17, 17 was, have you ever witnessed discrimination in Mono? If you
Right, got it.
said yes to that, then you had a number of locations or occurrences that it could be. And one of those was public facility, and another was a restaurant. And we added by a Mono employee working in their official capacity as one of the options there.
Right. And that's staying in, is it?
That was put in as we removed another one that was looked at the same question, but it actually tried to find out where within the town and employee there might be an issue. In other words, we asked if it was related to planning or to public works or to recreation or to council, etc. John, you saw that other question, John Creelman.
Yes.
Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm looking at the wording as originally proposed versus what is proposed. And I'm just wondering, like the answer yes doesn't really help us. To drill down and be totally specific may not be helpful. But I think that if the answer is yes, then can we not invite a further comment along the lines of, if yes, be specific?
Can I ask who is the organizer of this meeting? I'm just wondering if that person could give me access to share my screen. I could just put the survey up on the screen. Is that person not here?
I don't think Andrew's here.
Okay, that's fine. Because I tried to share the screen, but it says I have to ask the organizer to make me a presenter.
Yeah.
Perhaps when he does future meetings, if he does includes me as a presenter from the beginning, then I'd be able to put the agenda up and anything we're reviewing as well.
I have it on my phone, so I have access to it. So
Okay,
Good.
great.
I see all the work everybody's done, and it's they've really done a great job. There might be a few little touch-ups here and there if everybody was really to examine it thoroughly.
So I'd like to go
Okay.
back to John's comment. John, you were suggesting that if the answer was yes, that we should have some way of drilling down and finding out more about why they said yes.
I think that's fair.
Yes, agree.
Yep.
So how would you like to word that?
Well, the original proposal was members of council, yes or no, office staff, yes or no, public works, yes or no, planning, yes or no, finance, recreation, yes or no. That may be too detailed, but I think, the thing that would concern me is that if there is a yes, that we get some indication of where this is coming from. And, quite apart from the survey, I would hope we would find out regardless.
So may I
Now, I
suggest,
think
rather than we do a yes/no thing, that we just leave a number of bullets opposite each of those. I think there are 5
Ralph,
plus.
we had discussed this in the meeting, though, I thought, then we had agreed that question 19 was the space for them to identify where specifically they felt they had been discriminated.
Yes, I recognize that, Christine. That's why I'm bringing it up here, because John is suggesting that that's inadequate.
Because we added number 20. If you feel comfortable doing so, could you provide examples of experience referenced in questions 17, 18, or 19? Is that not enough? Am I missing something there?
I think so. I think
Because that number 20, as long as whoever does the survey creates this as a long answer, not a short answer, people could put as much information in there as they would like.
I'm fine with that as long as that is the result here. And people don't simply say yes and then move on.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of that anyway, John, because I don't think people are particularly, like to just spill their guts on these, especially if they don't feel it's 100% anonymous, whether it is or not. A lot of people don't think that it is, so I don't know if you're going to get that much detail. But hopefully, if they really want to give information at the end, they'll give their contact information so someone can contact them to have a deeper conversation.
Very true.
Yeah, I think 20, where you can express yourself in verse, I think 20 really gives them an opening to explain what they really mean. So, if you can understand what I just said.
Yeah, if they want to, then they can, for sure.
well, that might work. I'm just afraid that we're going to get some yeses to this by a mono employee working in their official capacity, and then not know where the problem is. I don't think, Christine, that my feeling is that people will answer this and they won't suspect that they're going to be targeted by who they are. I think that there's some respect for our ability to be anonymous. What about having listing the various departments as we did in the first question, and just having the bullets there so that you can check off one of them if it applies, rather than having a yes, no, yes, which is.
But John, I think the reason we were talking about this was because from an HR perspective, the town can't do anything with this information anyway, because it's not conclusive. You're not going to be able to address it. Like if you were to say, one of the areas, you go to them and say, this is what we got in the survey, no one is going to say, well, actually, that was me. So it's not like you're really going to be able to take any action on the result of this survey anyway, even if, 170 people all said one area was a problem. You know it's a problem, but you can't really do anything with it.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and I think this survey is really to get data so that we can make more decisions on inclusion, equity, and so that we can make some decisions later. Although somebody might want to complain about something in it, there's other pathways to complain about some injustice that might have been they might have suffered. So it's really not a way of addressing their particular injustice in the survey. It's more or less finding out and getting that data and then making some changes, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not going to know unless we get the survey out.
Well, I have a different. Can I speak, please?
Yeah, of course.
I have a different perspective than you do on this, Christine. I think that if we had, let's say, we had a number of people, your 170 people had indicated that they had a problem with some aspect of the recreation, for example, which is an area where a lot of people have contacts with the town. When we look at recreation as an item that we discuss here, we would have our feelers would be up. We'd be thinking, well, there's some problems here. Let's find out why there might be some problems. We're going to look into the various programs, et cetera, and see if they are inclusive, et cetera. So I think the survey is going to be very useful for pinpointing areas.
Areas that we could focus on.
Yes, later on, exactly.
Yep. Andrew?
Yeah, thank you. Shelburne has looked into that, and they've just opened up a cricket field, which is, I thought it was very progressive. And I was reading an article a few months ago about in Mississauga and areas that they're opening up more cricket playing fields and skateboard parks rather than hockey arenas. So I think it would be really good if we did put something on our survey about what sports people like playing and how we could be more progressive in, sports for more diverse sports. Like cricket is a wonderful one, and there's other things that we could probably look into. What sports are we could probably come up with a question for that. I think it would be really good because I saw Shelburne just did it. So okay, the end.
So Ralph, I have no problem, and John, if you put those questions back about the town. I mean, it's not something that's for me. I'm passionate about you not putting it. I'm fine with you putting it. It won't be my issue if you have a big problem in one area. It's good. It's something that we'll have to figure out together anyway. John?
If I can, to Mark Early, do you see value in drilling down on this or leaving it more open-ended? As a manager, is there value to you getting an answer to this question in detail, or simply getting a sense that there's an issue?
I found that the original survey was very identifiable, if you will, by poking. If you had someone with a burning issue against the roads department, not even related to discrimination, you're going to check off roads department just to
Sure.
tick them off. And I found the original questions to be very identifiable that way, and I was going to be very vocal about them. I'm still somewhat skeptical about having the line in there. I think it tends to be more of a witch hunt when you're filling out a survey like that, but I was much more comfortable by a Mono employee working in their official capacity than the original draft. And quite frankly, I don't know. I mean, you're hitting on staff, but you guys may not be staff, but I think it should say Mono council or Mono employee.
I agree with you, Mark. It should be either Mono staff or Mono council, and maybe a compromise is another line saying, if you choose to be specific, here's your opportunity.
And I think that's where box 20 is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm trying to make notes here as we go. And Mark, how would you revise that line, which presently reads by a Mono employee working in their official capacity?
Oh, I would just put by Mono counselor or employee, or if you want to put employee first or counselor. That's all I was thinking.
Well, I think Ralph had said that, and I said, as a resident of Mono, I wouldn't know that a counselor is not an employee.
Right. And
so I'd put it all into one group, but by separating it out, obviously it makes it more clear for sure.
Right.
Yes,
I agree with that, changing that.
Okay, then we'll leave it as it is with 19, with the addition of our council or employee councilor. And I want to go back, if I could, to Andrew's comments about sport and how we can assess the inclusiveness of sports in Mono. Andrew, do you have a wording for a question there?
Okay, yeah.
Andrew, what
So
about number 23? Sorry, Andrew, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. In 23, you could, it says, in your experience, what barriers would community members face if they wish to improve? Oh, we have to probably change that question a bit, because you could put lack of cultural relevant sports, public.
yes, something like that. Yeah, if we could. But I think there should be like really written in. Yeah, a specific question, because it's really becoming a popular issue, bringing cricket out for the East Asian community, cricket fields. What sports do you find are not being presented in our community? We have baseball, we have hockey. Cricket is another one that we should be. And giving people access to that time on the field, even if we use the same field as baseball or something. But we also make that more inclusive. What other sports are there that we could write down? Cultural sports, because cricket is a huge sport in most of the world.
How about, Andrew, what if we ask a question like, that's an open-ended question. Are there culturally relevant sports and activities you would like to see offered within the town of Mono? And then an open-ended box where they can put their.
Yes, I like that.
And so
Probably right after 20,
sports/activities. So not just sports, but any culturally relevant activities. What would you like to see?
How about just culturally relevant activities, including sports, that you'd like to see?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Were there any other questions we wanted to discuss? Mark,
Before,
did you have any other questions you wanted to review?
Um,
excuse me, before we leave that
Oh,
question,
sorry,
I
Ralph.
haven't heard from either of the Johns. Are you happy with that addition? Are there culturally relevant activities or sports that you would like to see?
Yeah, John put his hand up, a thumb up.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Excellent.
Oh,
me too.
yeah, yeah. I'm just wondering, Ralph, before this survey goes out, will the committee have a chance to try it? Just in my experience, 9 times out of 10, something in the survey isn't set up properly, and either someone set it up as all required and you can't skip a question, or it's not check all that apply, or you can't enter any words into a box. It would be great if we could all test it, or a couple people test it before it goes out.
it could be
I
it.
just think it happens all the time. The surveys don't work the way we intend them to.
I think that's a great idea. I've been in touch with Andrew Dahmer, who will set it up, and he'll make it. I've asked him to look at the survey with respect to 2 things. One, is it particularly suitable to be an online survey, and is it set up in a way that we can collate the answers? Because that's an important part of the assessment. If you have to do it by hand, it's a big problem. So at the time that he's put it into available use, I think it would be a good idea. But rather than me look at it, I've looked at it so many times, I'm not going to see anything wrong with it. I don't mean that to be smart. I mean that you need to have somebody new who looks at it. And
Does the town use a specific tool for surveys? Just because I have a lot of experience in Forms now, which is in the Office 365 suite. And the advantage to Forms is it does collate all the answers for you. And it creates great graphs and pie charts and all sorts of things so you can see the data really clearly. And it's automatic. And so it's called Forms, and it's an Office 365.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Andrew uses, Christine, but it's very effective. He can drill down on a lot of
And you
information.
can drill. Okay, great. Perfect. That's great.
Is there any
Um,
way we can get it electronically and then share it with some of our diverse friends so that we could get their opinions too coming back? So because the diversity thing, it would be nice to be able to put it out there to other people, not just ourselves on the committee, just for a test run.
We should get them to join the committee, Andrew.
so I like that idea. If we can keep that in mind for a certain stage of the before we, after the council has to approve it, that's the next stage, which
Right.
Yeah.
and if so, then we could do a short assessment. I think that's a very common thing in major surveys, and you see what the wrinkles are and try and get rid of them. Is there any other questions in here that anybody has any comments about? So we've added that one question.
Mark?
We slightly modified number 19.
Sorry, Ralph. So
Mark has a
you
question.
forwarded this to Andrew as well, and he had made a bunch of comments on it based on, surveys he's done in the past and questions to be asked. So I don't know whether you want to go. Did you want me to go through those with the committee, or do you just want to kind of fine tune them at the end once it's going to council? I think some of his comments are really just setting up the survey so it reads a bit better. Other than that, he's just asking questions. Do you really need to be asking where people are from? But if we're going out to the whole community, I think that answer is yes. I'll just go through them quickly. He suggested, which gender do you most identify with, as opposed to putting not listed. He suggested put other, as opposed to not listed. And you could even put a blank field in there, and they can actually submit which gender, what they do identify with.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we should Mark put another area for them to put what they identify with. I
right.
just doing a whole training on that, and other is quite offensive. So allowing them
Okay.
to put that in would be a good idea, I think.
Yeah, like it would say other, and then you'd have
And
the
then
blank.
please identify. Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Andrew suggested, and this is an interesting one. You've got Muslim faith, Christian faith. Did you want to put agnostic or atheist in there?
I think that's included.
Well, I think, doesn't it say no faith?
No,
It
it
does.
says,
What it says is you do not identify with 5 faiths listed above.
I'd have no
right.
problem adding that.
So I would have thought that would pick up agnostics or atheists.
Yeah, I agree. But if people want to be specific, I guess they could.
So
I-
you're right. It kind of identifies you with respect to the other denominations, but you'd like it to stand alone and say agnostic or atheist. Is that your suggestion?
That's just Andrew's suggestion.
I'm happy with that. Were there any others? I just see his email now, Mark. I've been busy all afternoon and didn't look at it.
Yeah, no, I'm going through it quick, Ralph. I'm kind of cutting out what he's really asking. So 16 and question 16, it says, if you feel comfortable doing so, could you provide some examples of the experiences referenced in question 15? Andrew's just suggested instead of if you feel comfortable doing so, just putting in there, describe your experiences referenced in question 15.
That's fine. If they don't want to, they don't have to.
Right.
So if they're not comfortable, they won't anyway. So
I think that's better worded.
yeah.
And then the only other question Andrew had, and I'll let you guys discuss this one. He's got under 27, which is respondent contact information, which says it's optional. And Andrew's comment is name and address should be mandatory. The purpose of this is to prevent multiple submissions from the same person. So he's thrown that out there in terms of the anonymity versus the multiple forms being submitted. So I'll leave that comment.
Yeah, I would disagree with that statement. I think if you have to put your name on that, you're not going to get any honest feedback. People are not going to give you examples. They're not going to be transparent about their feelings if we mandate they put their contact information. I think it's worth that privacy to have the risk of people doing multiple surveys. I don't know why. This isn't the type of survey that I think people would do multiple of. But that's just my opinion. John?
Is there not a way of screening for the IP number? In other words, if you get 25 responses from the same IP number, you know you're being flooded, versus one response for an specific internet address.
And I know I've done surveys where I didn't remember I've done it and I go click on it again. It says you've already completed the survey. So I don't know if that's not possible.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah.
I can talk to Andrew about that as well. And the one thing I missed, I was scanning down too quickly, is before you get into the acknowledgement and the survey and everything, there would be the AMFIPA statement that we're required to put in there about releasing any information, that it's protected. Anything you put in there is protected. So there's a standard form we would throw in there that we will put into the survey before it goes to council.
And Mark, is it accurate that that this will be edited before it's given to this group? Because I don't think we should have access to any specific names they might put in there of town members or employees or So assuming it will be cleaned up before it's sent out to us to review?
The actual information that's submitted, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done that in the past. As you know, similar to council surveys that have been done when people have provided their names, we don't provide any of the personal information.
Right,
It goes
okay.
into just the information that's been checked off.
Yeah.
I would think that the steps might be that after the information's been collated and the results have been identified, whatever, put into bar graphs, etc., that would be provided to the advisory committee, which of course is a public setting. And then we would look at it and decide where we're going to go from there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If
Just a
there's no other,
question. Just a question on how is the survey going to be mailed out? Is that to be responded through the internet, or is that a mail-in ballot? Because you could have several participants within the same household and probably say using the same computer.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's usually, sorry, John, on surveys that I've done before, it's usually identified by email address why you can't do it twice.
Right. Okay.
But you're right, if it's all sent to one home and then we want 4 people to do it, it's only going to be able to be done once, right?
Right.
Unless people forward it to other email addresses.
well, let's try and deal.
With our Provost group, you do have couples sharing the same email address.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Let's see if Andrew can deal with that issue. The next thing to do, you'll see I'm trying to pull it up here, is an advice to council. And
Yeah, I've
we
got it
can
up, Ralph. It's on the screen. You should see it as one of the screens if you click on it.
It's
Yep.
so
Yeah, if you click there. Is that better?
it's so small, it's not useful for me, Christine.
Okay, hold on.
You should be able to just scroll up. If you've got a scrolling mouse, if you just scroll up, it should just enlarge it.
Mhm.
That's right.
Oh, that wasn't it. There we go. Sorry, there it is.
Okay, I'm good now.
Okay. Everybody can see that okay then?
Yes.
Yes.
So I can continue. By way of instruction, this is the route that an advisory committee provides information to the council, just as a so-called resolution of advice to council. And in that resolution, you can put any information that you wish there. And you'll see after the, this was originally drawn up by Fred Simpson. I've modified a little bit. You'll see after the first long line there, it says additional comments, including attached survey documents, which would be there, and recommendations for distribution. I think this is a little bit of what John Eda was getting to. What are our recommendations for how we're going to maximize the returns of this? And I'm not sure the rest is that we have any information we'd like to add, such as background information, pros and cons, discussions, confirmations. That could all be removed. But then you'll see in the last paragraph, and I think it's worth our committee having an opinion about this, but that council will make their final decision about how they're going to encourage the community to comply, how best to do it. So if I could run through the possibilities here, the one is that, first of all, this is going to be posted online. And our previous, I don't know whose background is making all the noise there, but if you could turn off your microphone, it would help my ears. Thank you. Andrew said that at least 90% of our surveys that are available online, they're filled out online, and the other less than 10% are usually paper. And if you get a paper survey, then staff have to enter that into the online version. So that adds additional work. So it will be made available online. they can also be made, and I feel it should be available to people that do not have online access, and they can pick up a hard copy at the town. The big question is how do we get this in front of people? And we have some, I would say, we have partially successful means of doing this. We list it on the town website, but most people go to the town website when they're looking for something and have some problem to solve, and they don't use it. I don't think as a routine. We do have a number of different social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And you have to get that, a resident has to sign up for it. In other words, we can't just send it to everybody because they're a resident. So we have a number of, I'm not sure what the number is now. Mark may know, it was 300 or something last time I remember, subscriptions to our social media. And then the other biggest thing that everybody does get, and I suspect is pretty well highly read, is the newsletter. And we can, that newsletter often has had a letter from the mayor. At this time it may or may not, because it's close to the election. But we can feature that very strongly on the newsletter and identify how people can access the survey. The other option is to send a hard copy to everybody in Mono, to print it out, mail it, and that's that paragraph has been identified there as $2,700 as the cost to print and deliver the survey. On first blush, that might sound like a very good way of doing it, but if it's done that way, we have to then enter the surveys manually, and that's could be quite a large task and expensive for the staff. So that's my summary, and I'll stop talking and get your ideas.
Ralph, sorry, Christine, to jump in. In terms of the number that you're showing in the $2,700, do you know when Fred gave you that, was he anticipating that would be a 1-pager or a 2-pager or a 4-pager? Because I think that you generally move from 2 to 4 pages, you run up into your different postage amounts as well. So
yeah, that's a really good question. It seems to me that, but I don't think that I haven't discussed that with Fred, and I don't think that he had seen. Well, I don't know. He must have seen that. I don't know. So the way it is right now, it's more pages than I needed, just because Word and I were having a problem, and there were blank pages that were in it. But it would be multiple pages for sure.
Grams for a letter, and after that it goes into parcels, so it goes from $1.25 to like $15. And so it's just if it goes out as a letter, but if it becomes a parcel, we're in trouble. The end.
Imagine a survey in a parcel.
So it's about 10 pages now. I guess it could be shortened down to about 8, but I'll throw in my 2 cents worth. I think it'd be good to get as many people as we could respond. Orangeville got about 2% of their eligible people responded. I'd like to see it at least twice that. I'm not sure sending out a hard copy is the way to go. I would favor pushing this through the newsletter and through our social media and through our website. And but that's just my opinion.
Can we do something through the banner?
Absolutely.
A link, and come to the municipal office and pick up a hard copy if you don't have access to a computer. Just put something in the banner, because Jane, my neighbor, delivers the banner all over our neighborhood. The end.
Yeah, I agree, Andrew, that I think it should be online, but there should be a location to go if people would like to pick up a hard copy survey. So we only have to print 100, or only 50 at a time. We don't have to print a ton of them.
I think the banner is a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
The money that you would be looking at for doing a mail out would definitely be served better by advertising, I would think.
Yep.
And how about some signs? Put some signs up to a link to the website for the survey. Like, I don't know, like coming into Monowan Airport Road and leaving, and on the Huckley Valley Road. Just a few signs. It wouldn't have to be, like those election sign type of things. And we just have a township survey and a link on a sign. That's another way. I don't know. That might be a dumb idea, but you never know.
No dumb ideas, Andrew. No.
Oh, dumb ideas.
I was depending on the timing, it can go up right after the all the parking warnings at Monocliffs Park. Oh, and by the way, have you filled out your DEI survey? So, I mean, we do have those signs there. We certainly
Mark,
look through that.
can you do a QR code on those signs?
I
Oh, that would
doubt
be
it.
brilliant.
How are you going to drive?
Yeah, I know. It's inviting a disaster.
When we did the Parkland survey for the entire municipality, we did it, I think, basically through the town newsletter, with the option of coming in to pick up hard copies and advertising, and I think that worked out relatively well. So we could kind of follow the same lines. I
Well,
think
we have such a tourist population hitting the Bruce Trails and the Mono Cliffs. If we just put signs up at those places, and we have a diverse community hitting those trails, and a QR code on the sign would really help to direct people to our website. I mean, thousands of people go to the trails.
Any other thoughts on this?
Well, I guess the only thing about the QR code, if you're putting it on all the trails and that, if most of them are tourists, they're not mono residents, and I don't think we can control that. Then we wouldn't know if they're not a mono resident.
I think the newsletter is a great idea. And
Say that again? Sorry, I missed that.
like, I think the newsletter is a great idea. Like, you put the website there, and then here is the link, and then you mention at the bottom that if you need a hard copy, you just can pick it up at the town hall.
So if we've finished with this discussion, I think council will have its own ideas, of course. And I think this committee and its work is well supported by all the members of council. So they'll be wanting to do the best they can to obtain a high completion rate. The next step through the chair would be that somebody would move the advice to council, and that's one of our.
I'm happy to move the advice to council. I'll do that, Ralph. Move
All right.
advice to council.
Do you have a seconder?
You want to second it? You want to second the advice to move this to council to make recommendations, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Thanks everybody. I think I've got all the changes. That's just fine.
Okay,
Christine,
Yep.
sorry, as chair, you should be calling a vote on that.
Oh, my
Once you
apologies.
moved in second. Yeah.
Sorry, say that again, Mark. So I should be calling a vote on
You should be,
someone's
once
second?
you get your mover and seconder, you should be calling a vote to make sure.
I'll just say vote all in favor?
All in favor and
Okay.
all opposed.
Okay. All in favor? I think that was everybody. Yeah. Okay.
So I will provide this to Michelle and.
So Ralph, are you also filling out the resolution of advice to council? Do you need a name for moved and seconded? Or that was it? That's all we needed that?
That was it. That was you moved and
Yeah.
I seconded it, and it was
Okay,
approved.
perfect.
Will we'll clean it up at a staff level and make sure that council gets the resolution of advice and the survey.
Right, okay. Perfect. So maybe we want to move back up to the top of the unfinished business then. Short and long-term objective and plans. Did anybody have an opportunity on this committee to identify any short or long-term plans that we might want to have for this committee?
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, Ralph, of course.
I think this is a very important concept that we understand what we're doing. And based on what our long-term plans are, which are pretty well outlined in the terms of reference, we would then draw up our short-term plans, and the short-term plans would be more specific as to what we're going to look at. And I think this is that somebody, I was thinking of yourself, Christine, should prepare this as a document so people could have a chance to look at it ahead of time and discuss it, rather than just sort of make it up on the fly right now.
Okay. Yep, I can create a document. But do we have suggestions for long-term? I know for a short-term perspective, I'm still quite irked that the pride flag was put up and I didn't see any announcement about it, and it wasn't in any social media information or from a short-term perspective, I think we need to make a bit of an effort as a committee to ensure that these type of events are publicized on any relevant media pages. I know I contacted the Your Mono group in Instagram, and they simply said, if we send it, they'll put it up. So we do need to get people on the committee committed to, trying to get a post, 3 posts a week at least. We should start to put stuff up, that's constant, just information, a picture of our flag and mono flying one day, a picture of, one of Andrew's events maybe one day, and then, just subtle things up all the time as well. That would be a short term, but and John?
Christine, I'll take responsibility for the fact that the flag went up. I was rather sensitive to the fact that last year we were rather slow off the mark to get it up. And I thought it was important that it go up as quickly as possible. And we had not actually been approached by a group to raise that flag like we were, as an example, the Ukrainian flag.
Right.
Now, I should indicate that the flag is coming down this week in favor of a multicultural flag in view of that organization's request. And that's not uncommon. In other municipalities are doing the very same thing. So we are actually having a flag raising ceremony on Thursday with regard to the multicultural recognition. But I plead guilty on that. Both Mark and myself have responsibility for the flag issues, but I think one of the mandates could be to come up with a criteria how we deal with these requests and how we maybe publicize them prior to the flags going up.
Okay, but that would be, you said that we should under long-term, one of our long-term outcomes?
Sure. I mean, I think that I don't know of any other flag requests beyond the one that is going to be implemented on Thursday.
Well, all this month is the LGBTQAAA2 month. It's the whole month. So I'm wondering why it's only staying up for 2 weeks, or was it 3 weeks? We should probably try and keep it up for the whole month. I don't know how many flagpoles we have.
Andrew, I tend to agree with you. If we can fly both flags, we only have 2 flagpoles, and there's great controversy as to whether you can put 2 flags on the same
On one
pole.
pole.
Right.
Quite frankly, I don't have an issue with that. But I do know that other municipalities are dealing with the same question
Yeah.
of two organizations claiming the same month for purposes of celebration. So I'm happy to talk to Mark, who is my co-conspirator in flag related matters, according to policy, about whether or not we can have both flags on the same pole.
The multicultural flag, is this a multicultural month? Is that could it be diverted to another month?
Unfortunately, I think we've had a presentation on this, and we have formally declared that it is this month. And as part of that declaration, there's an undertaking to fly the flag. Regrettably, I don't think we can divert it to another month.
Mm.
The multicultural is a day, and that's what council's declaration was. You declared it as a day, so it could very
one day?
easily be a swap out. Put the pride flag back up after the flag raising. So that was it's June 27th, Your Worship. Is that when you were coming in to do it?
It's Thursday.
Like tomorrow?
Thursday?
I believe it's tomorrow.
Okay.
And I don't have an issue with that. I just want everyone to be happy and feel that they are, their events are recognized. And Andrew, you make a very good point. It is a month.
Because next weekend is the big Celebrate Your Awesomeness in Orangeville.
Exactly.
So that we should try and do something during that Celebrate Your Awesomeness on the 18th.
Yeah, I think it would work that you could do your flag raising on Thursday, Your Worship. We could then exchange the flags again, and then on the 27th, put the flag back up for Multicultural Day, which is what you've proclaimed.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And just while you're there, we're already looking at one or two additional flagpoles to get established out there. That's
there seems to be a lot.
It's not lost on us the new practice of flag raising and flag lowering has really taken off over the last couple of years. So I think Shelburne's now has 4 or 5 different flagpoles now.
Wow!
But that's also their cenotaph, right? So they do utilize that, especially on road.
Thank you.
Ralph?
Christine, I'd like to comment on the short and long-term objectives, and I think I'm probably responsible for these words. And I think that's a mistake. We should be talking about general and specific objectives. In other words, the general objectives is the overall direction we're trying to go, which is will be largely taken from our terms of reference. And the specific objectives would be to look at have a flag raising policy, to deal with fireworks bylaw, to deal with other things like that. Maybe to review the recreational programs for their inclusivity. These are specific objectives, and I think that I've led you astray by using the terms long and short term. I really was thinking about terms of general and specific. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. If we do general and specific, for sure. Now, someone's taking minutes, right? Because my notes are now getting all over the place. We will get minutes afterwards, and we'll
Michelle Newson's doing that.
Thank you, Michelle.
Andrew here.
Yeah, Andrew.
I'm a big advocate and somehow of seeing more skateboard parks. I'm still skateboarding, and Orange. I've been at the last 3 or 4 mayors to bug them to build a new skateboard park that's world class. I'm not a big advocate of the one that the Rotary Park built. And if you look at Alton, they have a thing called a pump track, and it is just packed with families and kids skateboarding. it's called a pump track. If you get a chance to go to Alton to look at that, it's an amazing structure that they've made. And Bolton has a wonderful skateboard park for old school and new school, meaning they have the flats for the new school and they have the bowls for the old school. So I don't even know if Mono has a skateboard, anything for skateboarding. So I'm a really big advocate for skateboarding.
And are you bringing this up from the inclusivity?
Well, it was the one question on cricket and skateboarding are becoming very, very big in a lot of multicultural areas, like in the Mississauga and Brampton, as compared to hockey and baseball. So I guess it's to our question. And I think, is that what long-term goals are? Is that what we're talking about here? Long-term and short-term goals?
I'm trying to convince you to talk about general and specific goals and objectives.
Yeah, that's kind of.
So if we were
I don't understand that.
Well, we put skateboarding into more general, so we will discuss various activities and relevant activities from a DEI perspective would be a general category that we will review we will review activities from a DEI lens and provide suggestions to council.
Yeah, you still got me lost, so I'll just refrain from talking about it.
No, of course not. What I'm saying is we should include it, but it should be under a category, and instead of a specific thing, instead of specifically skateboarding, it should be a category of the committee reviewing activities that are available in the town of Mono from a DEI lens. So that should be something under the general category that we should review at some point. And in that category would be skateboarding.
Right. And so this is sort of outside of the survey.
Yeah.
Although we do have a question specific in the survey, but there's other things that our committee should be doing and looking at, right?
Right, and that's what we're talking about now. What areas should the committee be looking at? John, did you have a statement or a question there?
I was just going to suggest that we take a long, hard look at our website and our social media communications from the standpoint of this lens. And in particular, one of the questions that could arise is whether we incorporate a translation tool. I know those are not perfect, but I do see them used in other websites.
Yeah, I agree. That should be something we should be doing, is looking carefully at the website for sure. Yeah, that would be under the general rough.
So Christine, are you happy with putting together a document which describes some of the specific objectives, specific items, as well as the general?
Yeah. When Michelle has a chance to finalize the minutes and sends them out, I'll go through them and I'll create a document on our long and short-term objectives and goals.
Maybe our general specific objectives and goals.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with social media. It needs a lot of work, actually, if we're going to start to have representation from a DEI lens. And I don't know what other social media we have besides the Your Mono and Instagram. Maybe someone could provide us with a list of all the social media handles that we have that represent Mono. I don't have a clue. The only one I follow is the Your Mono. I don't know what else is out there.
Well,
sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. Aggregating all social media, there's a platform called Hootsuite. And so you just post it once to Hootsuite and it goes out to all the social media. So it aggregates your tweet out to everybody. So it's called Hootsuite. It's out of Vancouver. And well, for most part, it's free, but if you're a big corporation, they might charge you. So it's something we might look into on how to aggregate our social media platforms, so they all get sent out all at once. Hootsuite.
I mean, even I would love to see as committee members, each month, 2 people take on the responsibility of ensuring that 4 posts are sent to the social media handles. We agree in advance, what those topics will be, and that way we'll start to ensure there's some sort of movement on our social media. Like I don't know why I forgot about it, but I had meant to go take a picture of the flag and then send it to your mono, who said that they would then post it on our behalf. But then after I was at the Pollinator Garden, I rushed home and forgot about it. So I will try and still get that picture up, but I guess it has to be before tomorrow morning, right? Before
I think that's an excellent idea.
John.
Christine, I got dropped there. I think we have to differentiate between the official social media that the town participates in versus the privately run sites. And there is a very popular and well subscribed privately run Facebook page that a lot of people think is actually a town site when in fact it isn't. And I do participate in it. And I do try and repost official Town of Mono materials to that site. I think it's important that we not lose sight of both the official and unofficial sites.
Agree. So John, does somebody have a list of the official and non-official?
Andrew's got
I
the
think we can
site,
put that.
and we do utilize Hootsuite, Andrew. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to find our official sites. I believe the Instagram site you're referring to is privately run, Christine. It's not town.
Yeah, they said they were a residents committee.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can make sure that information's available.
Mark, you stated that we are using Hootsuite.
On our website, on our town sites, our official town sites.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
And then as one of our goals as well, I think we should start to have a presence in any events that are running in the town of Mono. A table that has information, people willing to, come up and talk to us and learn. I'd like to see that as one of our long-term
General.
general. I am never going to get this right, Ralph. I can tell you that now. Once I write it out, I'll have it.
So I think we're going to lose our chair in about 10 minutes to 12 minutes.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I did vote for the meeting to be last night. I lost.
I'm sorry for not putting my hand up properly, but did we do any kind of photo ops with the flag so far, like with the town council or a police officer or somebody from the OPP? Everybody's been doing that for the LGBT month. So I don't know if anybody's done that with our flag, got a group of people together with the flag and take a picture, or did we just raise the flag?
The flag was just resigned. I don't think there's been a photo op, and it may be something the committee wants to participate in. I'm throwing that on one out.
Well, if people are going to be there tomorrow morning, I mean, I'll come and take the picture. I have to be back home for a meeting at 11, but I'm happy if we want to just do a photo op before that flag comes down, then we can put it up in social media.
Yeah.
I don't know who's there in the morning or what time.
Okay, what time? Whoever, we could just get whoever, we could pull secretaries out of the office, whatever, just show that we're doing something.
I have in my calendar 3:20 as the flag raising. So something around 3 o'clock might work.
Darn, I can't.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm not a morning person.
Well, again, I think the idea is we'll bring back the multicultural flag will come back down and be re-raised on the 27th, but we will be putting the pride flag back up
Okay.
for the rest of the month. So there's no urgency to do tomorrow morning if you.
I've seen a lot of communities already with their pictures up on their social medias and stuff, like Orangeville and I think Grand Valley. So,
Right, and I think you've got to give council the opportunity to be there
yes.
with yourself. So that'll give us time to.
Okay, so we're not going to do it tomorrow.
So there's things where we need to, well, I need to just make sure that we're saying.
Oh, I think we lost somebody.
Again, I thought it was, in the absence of an official request, I thought it was more important to get the flag up than not, given the fact we were rather slow last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree. It's better it's up than it's not up. So that's for sure. Agreed, 100%. And I wasn't trying to accuse anybody. I just thought as a new committee, we missed it. We missed our very first opportunity. That's all.
We can reprise.
So perhaps we could ask the committee to send any suggestions that would go on this general and specific list over the next, because I do have to finish at 7 to jump on the next call. And then we'd have some more information to talk about in the next meeting, some specific information. If everybody could come up, brainstorm a few ideas of things we want to see this committee focus on. Even if we do 2 each, that's going to give us a great list to start on for the next meeting. So if I'm a big person on giving deadlines so that we actually do it. So maybe if everybody could submit your ideas by June 26th, it gives us just under 2 weeks for everybody to submit by email a couple of ideas. And then we'll have something ready for the next meeting then in July. And then we're also going to talk about the content for the town's website. Now, I only looked at Shelburne. They do have descriptions and names of all the members. Sorry, Ralph, go ahead.
I was just going to you're looking for some suggestions. I think that there's we can have a DEI page, and I think that's a good idea. I think we already have that in fact. And that will give all the official stuff, such as the agenda and the minutes and terms of reference, etc. And then it should be something that's au courant. So we're not really. It's sort of like a message of the month, or a message of the week, if you'd like, something about what we're working on at the moment, and how to get input to the committee about your ideas, sort of thing. So you have to recognize that the website, as much as we would like the website to be something that the townspeople, it was a part of their daily life, it's not. And that's been a frustration for council. It's something that people do go to, but the better we make the website and the more informative it is, the more likely that people will click on the homepage and see what's there, what announcements there are, etc. So I think I'd like to see that it include both the agendas and the minutes and the terms of reference, but also have something that was sort of like the activity of the moment or something like that.
Some potato dishes in the past. One comes to mind many years ago. I remember the flavour of it in my mouth today, and it just started in the sense. It was a potato, and it was the way it was cooked in the season. And there were many lobster dishes in the past.
Yeah, it's so sorry, Ralph. Who would be responsible for putting up the weekly information? We would assign committee members to submit information each month.
Probably start with one person doing it for a period of time, and then
Okay.
we could take turns rather
Rotate it through.
keep changing it. So somebody here on our committee would volunteer to do that. I would suggest.
You thinking similar to the work that John and you were doing for the vaccines and the COVID?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, giving out, my dog wants to get up, giving out information that is kind of really current about what the committee's up to.
Right.
That's what I was thinking of more than with the COVID. It's the focus was on trying to put out information that wasn't readily available because there's so much of COVID information that was driving us all crazy. So it was a little bit different with COVID.
No, I just meant in terms of the approach where it would come from a committee member and be posted to, as the latest news announcement, that sort of thing.
Right.
And then be stored on the DEI page.
Yes. I'd be glad to take a shot at that for a little while, Christy, if you'd like. That's
great. Yeah.
I could speak to Andrew and see how we can best. Everybody wants to have their information be seen on the front page or the home page, and we can do something so that there's a scroll through thing there which provides information that when you first go on, and maybe that could be a part of that. For instance, I think we may feature at this time or what we're looking for in terms of health, and we would indicate that we're looking at directions for the committee in terms of the activity that it was doing, and ask for people to respond.
And should we also add that to the deadline if anyone could send suggestions about the website as well in that same email by June 26th?
Well, not to complicate things, I have to do too many things, but I suggest you just leave it, and I'll select something that's active and put it out there.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. And the last item on the agenda was the Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion membership. Was there an update on that to discuss?
I don't know what you discussed previously because I wasn't at the last meeting, Christine. So has the committee received a login or a password as of yet? Okay, so we've arranged with the center to allow us to utilize the general Mono DEI committee login and password. So we'll send that around to all of the committee members. It's a great resource. It's got a lot of information on it, webinars that you can access, YouTube videos on everything DEI. And they're actually just now starting to look at developing in a municipal portion on their website. It was really more corporate, private business before this. So I'll send that around. The only stipulation would be that if Christine's utilizing the email address at any given time, then Andrew can't go in. It's basically only one committee member is going to be able to access it at a time, but it was kind of it's the deal we worked out with them. So it works for us, and hopefully it works for you. So I will make sure that information gets out first thing tomorrow.
Great. Looking forward to reading through that. That's great. That'll be very helpful for us, actually, if we all take some time and review that.
Yep.
I could make a comment. This is an interesting organization. It's a fairly new organization, very, very keen. I did take a 2-day course that they put on. I think it was in January. But it'll be a good website for you to periodically go on and just thumb through and see what topics are interesting, and consider that to be your personal education source for this whole subject.
Can you state that name again, please?
It's the Canadian Center for Diversity and Inclusion. Short
So
form.
Andrew, we're going to get information so that we can log into that site. So
Okay.
you have to just wait for the
Yeah,
email to
fantastic.
go around, and then you'll
Thank
be
you.
able to access it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look for it tomorrow, Andrew.
Thank you.
So the meeting is welcome to continue. I am going to have to log off now. I'm very sorry, but I don't want to show up late to the Dufferin one. Sorry, Ralph?
Do we have a date for our next meeting?
Yeah, it's July 20th. Are we okay with 5:30 again?
Yep.
And maybe we could look at the August one or September one to do an in-person at some point,
Yes, please.
just so we can
May I,
people face to face.
may I
I'm
make
so
a,
done with technology.
can I ask a quick question of Mark? And that is, do the non-council members of the committee have unique mono email addresses?
No, that would just become very problematic from our IT perspective, John. So that's why we're providing them with the general.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Christine, are we adjourning?
I think we're going to adjourn.
Yeah, so I don't know why everybody, my computer went
Thank you.
blank, everybody disappeared, so I wasn't sure what happened there.
I
Okay,
just want to
so
state what a well-run meeting it's been. Thank you, Christine.
thank you, Andrew. For an adjournment, do we need a first and a second?
Okay. Seconded. Andrew.
I'll second it.
Second, so it's been Andrew and Ralph. Anybody, do we have to do a vote as well, Mark?
Sure. Best to do it. It's easier to go on the negative.
All in favor of adjourning? Oh, if anyone does not want to end this meeting? Okay, thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you on July 20th at 5:30.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Christine.
Bye.
Myself.